Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Sri Lanka on MTV Sports. Today is Tuesday, the 11th of December 2012. Of course, Christmas just getting closer and closer. And today in the studio, I'm glad to have Vasam Ismail who will be with us and joining in. How are you doing, Vasam?
I'm doing good, actually.
And how has the season been? This is a question I ask everyone I meet these days. Because for me, I don't know, I don't feel Christmassy. Do you feel Christmassy?
You know, that's very true, because, I mean, when it came towards Christmas around last year, by about October, I just the whole Christmas season wind, you know, blowing through the air. But
and I guess it's also the climate, right?
Because for some reason it seems like it's come late for me, but I'm sure it'll come around the corner for me soon, actually.
Yeah, and Vasam, I hear that you are after a big production.
Oh yes, I'm a stage man myself, and I've been involved in a production which actually was actually really good for me.
Okay.
Because I actually played a role which I liked playing after a very long time.
Right. Okay. And that is?
I actually played the role of a military person.
Right.
I was surprised that the director casted me as a military role, because when I walk around and stuff, I look at myself in the mirror and I don't see military at all.
So that's what's with the military haircut and all that.
Yes. Okay. I used to have a lot more hair than this before.
Right. Okay. So now in the show today, we're going to talk with a very interesting guest who has a lot to say about women's empowerment and about her work. But before that, we have two interesting videos coming your way as well. Now the first is Christmas in German. German makers, rather, how they interpret Christmas and how they've come up with this very German Christmas. Okay, does that even sound right? But I don't know. So let's take a look at that. Christian holiday season rapidly approaching as we go by. The traditional Christmas markets are going up across Germany, and again a 48-year-old company has been represented at most of them. The makers of handmade ornaments such as angels, nutcrackers and Santas, typically seen around and on a German Christmas tree, say their products are especially popular with clients from the United States and Asia. A company spokesman said that this company is very traditionalist because they sell the typical products needed for a German Christmas. We further develop the basic figurines, for example those from Eastern Germany, and with our own artists who then give them their personal touches. But it always remains the traditional German Christmas decoration.
If you ask me, I've always associated Germany with the beer, but then they seem to be quite good when it comes to celebrating Christmas too.
Exactly, and we should have our own version of Christmas, or Sri Lankan Christmas. I think the whole concept of the nativity story depicted in using all that the figures and all that is probably a bit towards a local feeling, because other than the Christmas tree, a lot of people have difficulty in relating to it directly, but it's obviously become a symbol of Christmas as a whole, and something that we can probably implement in the future, a localized version Sri Lankan Christmas.
It's quite a nice idea, actually, but I'm not too sure if that's going to work here completely, because I've always associated Christmas with the trees and Santa Claus, and and Easter coming up with Easter Bunny, and that kind of stuff. But it's an interesting concept when you say localizing it. Maybe you should someone should really put some thought into it.
Exactly. But right about now, let's take a short break, and we'll be back on Good Morning Sri Lanka. Welcome back to Good Morning Sri Lanka. Now, earlier on, before the break, we took a look at how the Germans celebrate Christmas and how their idea of a German Christmas is. Vasam, what do we have next?
Yes, well, before I introduce the next video to you, Milan, we all know that the US presidential elections hasn't been too far off.
Yes.
And there's definitely been a lot of talk about President Barack Obama. So I thought maybe we'll check and see what he's been up to.
Yes, okay.
This Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. And talking about now, that's what we were just talking about, how we can localize Christmas, and this is about a national Christmas tree all the way in the United States. Probably we should have something of the sorts here as well, Vasam. As you mentioned, the localizing concept is pretty interesting.
It is. Pretty interesting, but I'm still trying to figure out how to really get into it, because in Sri Lanka, localizing Christmas as such is a little alien to me.
Yeah, and also with the majority being non-Christians.
Exactly.
I don't know how it will work out.
But I need to mention this. I may not necessarily celebrate Christmas as such because I'm not a Christian or a Catholic, but I definitely love the season. I mean, I guess I celebrate Christmas in my own way, though I'm not a Christian or
definitely. Everyone loves the season. And here we go with the Obamas lighting the national Christmas tree.
Is it time?
I think it's time for
I think it's time.
for the big button. Let's
So,
count it down, everyone.
I hope everybody's ready. We've got to do the countdown. Starting with 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Merry Christmas, everybody.
There we go, President Barack Obama and his family lighting the national Christmas tree. Now, mind you, this tradition of lighting up the national Christmas tree dates back all the way to 1923. So it's become part and parcel of the Christmas experience for the Americans. But Wasam, now without wasting too much of time, let's get on to the highlight of the show. We have a lovely lady with us in the studio. Let's say hi to her. Very good morning and welcome to the studio, Mahika Pereira, who is the Group Manager, Corporate Communication and PR at Mount Lavinia. How are you, Mahika? How is the morning been for you?
Very good. Thank you very much. Mornings are always a good thing. Even in the little discipline that I work in, mornings are the most wonderful thing because I start work at 7 o'clock every morning. I drop my son at school, even now, because he has certain things, and mornings are good.
Okay, so Vasam, let's just ask her what she is really into at the moment.
Yeah.
So if you'd just like to tell us what does your work concern at this particular time period? I know you've been you have an entire story which you will hopefully share with us later on.
Not the whole story.
But right now, what is it that you do?
Okay, the discipline that I work in is corporate communications. Public relations also comes into it, but the whole gamut of things is in the hospitality or hotel industry per se. Corporate communications is a new thing, I think, in the hotel industry because it has always been public relations. Public relations is a very small segment in corporate communications. So now what our general manager, who is, I believe he is a very wonderful leader or a transformational leader who believes that corporate communications is the way forward, because that entails advertising, media, promotions and public relations. So it's all together, because at the end of the day we need to build the image of the product that we work in. So hence all four disciplines are needed to take that forward.
Right, and just before we started off in the studio, she said something that was probably you classified that as a sexist comment, but something about along the lines how some things are best done by women. Do you agree with that, Vasam?
Something is best done by women. Well, yes, I did indeed find it sexist because we are talking about women empowerment after all. And of course we're trying to highlight, what an important role women play in our lives these days, and how we need to, push them forward and give them so much more independence to do things that they want to do in a more independent manner.